I think I wasn't really familiar with the so-called gaming community, but I have become a bit more familiar now, says Dawkins. And I think they're a very good audience for science, and for my kind of science in particular, evolutionary science and skepticism. And so I'm very glad to be given this opportunity of, as it were, breaking into a very flourishing and interesting community of people. Today, folks, I'm going to show you another example of why I believe the word community has become code for cash cows. Richard Dawkins, who is a brilliant man. I read The Selfish Gene and I was not only impressed by the ideas, but by his ability to put them across. He deserves all of the praise he gets for that sort of thing. But now he's put his name to a video game, one that's meant to portray biological evolution. Sounds good, sounds like that could be fascinating, doesn't it? But here's the thing, specifics matter, especially when it comes to games. And even more importantly, when it comes to games that are being kickstarted. Like, for example, Richard Dawkins' Evolution, TM. Before we watch their video, there are two things I want you to bear in mind. They are only asking for £50,000. For what they're promising, that seems like a worryingly low budget to me. And two, they're aiming to release it this year. According to the Kickstarter page, Richard Dawkins' Evolution is a groundbreaking video game project created in collaboration with award-winning game director Gordon Douglas Ross. I haven't heard of him either. Targets PC and Mac 2017, with console release coming in 2018. This means the abomination I'm about to show you is less than a year away from release. Is this Windows Movie Maker? Check out that exhilarating 7 FPS. And that's just when you're sitting in the control room. Irony being, of course, anyone who actually spends money on this will probably end up killing themselves. I'm almost getting a religious vibe from this. The music, the idea we're going to be guardians of life, Charlie robots, makes me think of Charlie's Angels. I know that's not a religious thing, but angels, right? Exciting features such as detecting life, and then confirming detected life. What the hell does this guy normally make? Phone games? Oh. Well, okay, let's be fair. Let's look at his website more. What has this guy done? Gordon Douglas Ross is a 20-year veteran producer and production designer of video games. Ooh. Hit franchises include Grand Theft Auto. Holy crap! What did he do for it? Well, he actually brags about it on the Kickstarter page. Gordon Douglas Ross started his career in video games 20 years ago as the lead quality assurance supervisor for the original Grand Theft Auto. Looks like for the other stuff he was just a tester or an ideas man as well. And if you look at the front page of his website, it seems like he's more about the getting cash part of everything. Anyway, so let's get back to this Kickstarter pitch video. Bunch of dead cockroaches, and apparently one of them bounces. Okay, 2017 release target, folks.
Anything where you have a computer game that actually makes evolution happen at a sort of rate that you can actually see it happen is obviously very, very fascinating. If you can actually simulate an organism and then multiply them up so you've got lots of them and then watch what...
That does sound fascinating, but unfortunately you've shown us what it's actually going to look like. Look, there are already games that kind of do this and are very crude. If it's going to look like this, if it's going to look like dog shit, don't waste your time. If you really want, for example, kids to learn about the theory of evolution through video games, you've got to compete with every other video game they've got. Otherwise, I think the impact's going to be really, really limited. This will not put things across better than other methods of teaching, because kids are going to see this and think, oh great, a piece of shit game.
Which ones survive, which ones don't survive, then I think it...
Sorry to interrupt again, but what is this meant to be showing? Things not surviving, or is it meant to be... Why is this picture there? Just to remind us how bad everything looks?
It uses the power of the computer.
Behold, the power of the computer.
To explain something deeply important.
Oh, it all makes sense now. That's why the Earth is all covered in fire roaches. Why did they go out of their way to show us that he's just standing on the fucking chair and they can't make him sit on it? That is literally just a shot of them showing us how unpolished their game that's supposed to be coming out this year is. Is the blank screen there on purpose? Why have you done this? Why have you done any of this? Are we sure Dawkins hasn't joined Scientology or some shit?
The computer world that you're playing in is somehow available to lots of different players around the world through the internet.
1, why didn't the guy making it explain this to Richard better? And 2, am I the only one who's noticed that these little cockroach things are the only creatures they're showing doing anything?
The community will be able to effectively afford...
Boom! Community. Afford. When you hear that word, a request for cash is rarely ever far behind.
...to host 1 million organisms at once.
See, this is what I'm talking about. They show us the other fantastical organisms, but only as a screenshot. But we only ever see those cockroachy things in action. And if people are going to be playing this by the end of the year, I find that suspect.
That's very interesting, as it were, using a kind of, is it called crowdsourcing?
The bigger the community, basically the more competition, the more power we have, the greater diversity we will most likely have.
Well, Gordy, I think it's a wonderful project, but I can see it's obviously going to be expensive. I mean, computing on this scale is expensive.
Here we go. And I swear to God, I have not edited this.
Where are you going to get the money?
Jesus Christ. On the back of that alone, I want this to crash and burn. If everyone watching this donates just £10, Richard Dawkins will finally achieve his ultimate form. Fucking hell. And you want to know the best bit? It is a subscription-based MMO. Once it's released, you will have to pay monthly to play it. £5 gets you early access to the game in December and 1 month of game time. Or for £100, you could get access to this game forever, which sounds like a punishment to me. But luckily, as they're very careful to point out, you only have access for as long as the game is live, which who knows how long that will be. So, as I'm sure many of you are fans of evolution, science, and reasoning, you should know that these guys are seeking your community support. They cannot do this alone. The technology running this huge interactive scientific experiment is supported by a network of computers in the cloud. It costs a lot of money to keep the universe running. They simply can't do it without you. And more importantly, they don't want to do it without you. They love you. We are all in the fight for a better understanding of the cosmos together. And this is a way for you to make your voice heard above the deafening roar of those who would silence you. Is it just me, or are these war narratives for cash everywhere nowadays? Oh no, it's definitely been around longer, but I guess I'm only just really noticing it now. People are trying to silence you in this fight to spread knowledge. Give us money for a shitty looking video game. There'll be a Richard Dawkins hologram you can pretend to date and have dinner with at your computer every night. If you're smooth enough, maybe he'll let you seed a planet with him. Now that's evolution the old-fashioned way, like we did it back in my day. By hand. Just please. Why have they done this to me? Why have they put this out into the world for my eyes to come across, so that my sides may be damaged? And I love this. The universe scales with the amount of computing power we have, and this means the bigger the community of subscribers. God damn, if that isn't you can feel the oil dripping off of the salesman's tongue. The slipperiest way of getting around saying, the more money you give us, the better it will be. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with that idea, but I'm saying they're making it sound like a community bake sale for someone who's sick, rather than them selling you something. If we all just come together, you can make me 50 grand and then however much I get per month from subscriptions. It's for your good. Not a fan. The project's on Kickstarter right now. It's called Richard Dawkins Evolution, if you want to go check it out for yourself. And I guess if you throw some money at it, even if it goes the way I'm expecting it to, you'll still get to see evolution. You'll get to see hope slowly morph into disappointment. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.